Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm in a fantastic mood because I'm just about to pick out the books I'm going to be reading in June. We're going to be using the TBR jar to pick out the books, and I've just refreshed it with some new prompts, and I hope I get a lot of the new prompts just because I haven't done a lot of them before. We've got our coffee. It is 4 p.m, which I know is a little bit late for a coffee, but why not? Why not? I'm also in my pajama bottoms because it's very cold today. It definitely feels like it's almost winter and I'm excited. Hopefully we get some good wintry books, but without further ado, let's get started. Okay, we have the most popular book talk slash booktube book on your shelf. I probably have quite a lot, to be honest. There's definitely a few we can do. So we could do The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This has definitely been blowing up a lot. We could do Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I know the second book just came out in this series, so I feel like I've been seeing this series a lot on my feed. So this is definitely a very good contender. We could also do, I mean, there's quite a lot, to be honest. We could do The Prison Healer, although I don't know if this is like as popular on BookTok, BookTube. I don't really use BookTok, so I don't really know it's popular over there. But I mean, it's definitely popular on BookTube. I'm torn between these two. I think I really want Phantasma, to be honest. I'm in the mood for this kind of romantasy. From what I know, there's like trials and tournaments slash games in this book, and I think the love interest is a phantom, and that's cool for me. I think he also has like silver hair, and I love silver hair. Like, that's my favorite sort of look on like a fictional fantasy romance sort of character, you know what I mean? I'm really looking forward to this. I've just heard this is a really fun fantasy romance, and that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. Just something good, something a little bit spooky. It is like almost winter for me over here, so I just feel like this suits the vibe that I'm looking for, you know? Right, we just need a coffee break because I am so tired. That's fantastic. I can't really figure out the best lighting. It's not really good anywhere, to be honest. Is this a little bit better? I hope so. Right, let's do prompt number 2. Oh, this always falls off. That's okay. Oh, okay. A book you think you'll want to underline plus annotate. We're looking for some good writing. Or if not good writing, then writing that I sort of connect with. Oh my god, I actually have the perfect thing. I actually put this book on my TBR just today. I didn't think I was gonna get this prompt, but that book is Normal People by Sally Rooney. Look, I've actually read this book before and I really loved it. I read this book right after I watched the TV show, and I loved the TV show so much. And I had the book secondhand, like my sister gave it to me. I am someone who really loves Sally Rooney's writing. I actually haven't read one of her books, I think, for 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if I still love her writing the same way, so only one way to find out. But the reason I really wanted to read this book was because I kept seeing like Instagram reels of Normal People, the TV show, and I was like, you know what, I really want to reread this book and underline and tab it, because I did the same with Conversations with Friends. I might read it and not enjoy it the same way as I did the first time reading it. I was listening to 'Tis the Damn Season by Taylor Swift, and there's a YouTube video of that song and like clips from Normal People. It's a very good video, I promise. And I was like, oh, this is so like autumnal, and right now it's like the end of autumn, and I just feel like I want to read this book. It's very nostalgic, and yeah, I'm very happy. So this is going to be the second book we read. Right, prompt number 3. Okay, I always put this one in because it's just so much fun. We have free choice. What am I in the mood for? I could really do with a thriller. I'm in the mood to be like shocked and surprised and on the edge of my seat, you know? So I did recently pick up The Tenant by Freida McFadden. Freida McFadden is just the perfect author if you are in a book slump, or if you're getting into reading, or if no book is really doing it for you. I just think picking up a Freida McFadden book will do the trick. I do think it will bring you out of a book slump, because her books, like all thrillers, are very bingeable because you want to find out what's going to happen. But hers in particular, like, she ends each chapter sort of like, I don't know, she sort of ends each chapter on a bit of a cliffhanger, so you just keep wanting to find out what's happening. And this one sounds really fun. I think the main guy, so he's unable to make his mortgage payments on his fancy new brownstone apartment in New York that he shares with his fiance, and he's desperate to make ends meet. And then a woman called Whitney comes into the scene. She's beautiful, charming, down to earth, and she's looking for a room to rent. She's exactly what Blake is looking for. Strange noises jar him awake in the middle of the night, and soon Blake fears someone knows his darkest secrets. It's classic Frida McFadden, you know, like it's just gonna be juicy. It's gonna be like lots of interesting dynamics in this book, and I think this is exactly what I'm looking for. So this will be my free choice. Do you guys see a sort of pattern with the color theme? Lots of red sort of tones. I like it. I really do like it. Right, let's choose our fourth book. We have a book that matches the season you're in. You know, all of these could have been perfect for it, to be honest. This would have definitely been great because it's so autumnal, but it's sort of like end of autumn, beginning of winter. So it could also be a more wintry sort of book. I really want to do Belladonna, to be honest, because it's very gloomy. It's like a gloomy historical fantasy romance. If I'm not mistaken, it's a gothic romance. Belladonna is a hauntingly atmospheric read. I think I want something atmospheric to suit the sort of gloomy vibes. Like it's that kind of late autumn where there's still orange leaves on the trees, but 90% of them have fallen down. You know, it's like the end of autumn. The trees are bare, there's no leaves on them, and it's dark and gloomy. It's gonna be raining all week. So I think we're gonna go with Belladonna for this one. I'm so excited to read it. One of my subscribers messaged me being like, girl, you need to read this book. You're gonna love it. I just know you will. So I believe her, because from the back of it, it sounds super interesting. And I believe the main character has a relationship with death. I'm intrigued to see how that's gonna pan out. So we'll find out. Okay. Right, let's choose our fifth book. A book from a genre you don't usually read. I've got one staring right at me. We could do The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. This is a non-fiction, and I most definitely don't read non-fiction very often, or ever at all, to be honest. I think I've read like one before. I do prefer listening to non-fiction because reading them kind of bores me. Like if there's no plot, I'm sort of like, but I like listening to non-fiction. You know what I mean? And this isn't just any non-fiction. This is more of like a self-help non-fiction, which is definitely something that I like self-help and I like bettering myself, but there's something about reading it that I just don't enjoy. You know, reading is like such a pleasurable hobby of mine, and this just doesn't add up. But we could do this. We could also do God of Malice by Rena Kent, which is a dark romance. And I wanted to read this book in a video, like me reading dark romance for the first time. Which one? Like truthfully, do I really want this? You know, I feel like I have to go with this one because it matches the red theme I've got going on. I think we're gonna go with God of Malice, and I do really want to film that video. I think it'll be really entertaining. I don't think I've ever read a dark romance before. I've read like a dark fantasy romance. This is like a whole different thing, you know? I think it'll be quite funny to get my reactions. I did flick through this book and I saw some very questionable, interesting things. So I think it'll be a good time. I think it'll be very entertaining. I feel like my stack is looking so good. I'm really excited. Like I think this is a good stack for June. Right, let's go with the sixth prompt. A book from Kindle Unlimited. Okay. I actually think for this one, I'm gonna pick out another dark romance just because I think I want to read two videos I want to read two books in that video. So we'll do God of Malice. And what else is on Kindle Unlimited? I think there's like quite a lot of dark romances, if I'm not mistaken. I really want to read Nocticadia, but I don't know if that's a dark romance. That's like a dark fantasy romance. I think it's a little bit different. We could do Haunting Adeline. I feel like that's a bit of a classic, you know? I live in New Zealand, so I use the Australian Amazon. So a lot of books on Kindle Unlimited for me are different to other people. We could do The Predator. I think I've heard really good things about this one. Like, it's genuinely interesting. Yeah, I think so. For this one, I'm gonna do The Predator by Rooney X. What does a dark romance entail? Like, I know there's like dark things that happen, but I'm like, the plot is dark, like there's lots of killing in it. I have no idea. I'm new to this, babe, you can tell. I think with this one, I'm gonna do The Predator just because I have heard really good things about this one and it has a good plot. And I do think I want an interesting plot. If there's another dark romance that you think would be better and more enjoyable for me to read, comment down below and I'll see if it's on Kindle Unlimited for me and then I can choose that one instead. But I'm open to suggestions. Let's choose our next book. A second-hand / thrifted book. I'm gonna do The Lady's Paradise by Emily Zola. This is set in Paris, and the back of it, the sort of like blurb it says, is nothing gets a crowd going like sex and shopping, encapsulating in luxurious detail the phenomenon of consumer society, obsessed with image, fashion, and instant gratification. The Lady's Paradise vividly depicts the workings of a new commercial entity, the department store. This novel centers around the story of Denise, a young shopgirl from the provinces, and Octave Moret, the dashing young director of a shopping emporium, and they find themselves torn between the conflicting forces of love, loyalty, and ambition. This novel evokes the giddy pace of Paris's transition into a modern city and the changes in sexual attitudes and class relations taking place during the second half of the 19th century. I don't know about you guys, but this sounds so interesting to me. So interesting. I love books set in Paris. I know a lot of people don't like Paris, and when I went to it, when I did visit it, I did think Paris was very dirty and it didn't really meet my expectations, but there is something still so charming about Paris that I personally really love, and I like to read books based in Paris. And I think a book like this, you know, sort of Paris entering its modern era with like, you know, all the fanciness and like the way women dress and stuff like that, I just think it'd be so interesting. So I'm really excited, and we'll go with this one for, is it the 7th prompt? Yeah, I think so. Right guys, I think I'm gonna pick out 2 more prompts. So this is the second to last one. So there'll be 9 books overall. I won't read 9 books in total. I mean, you never know, but generally I read around 7 books, sometimes 8 books. So we'll see, we'll find out. A book with a love triangle. Guys, I love a love triangle. We all know this. What will it be? The thing is, I don't know. I don't know. If I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am, Lightlark by Alex Astor has a love triangle. I'm pretty sure. I'm very positive I've seen something about this online. So I'm gonna go with this one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but also don't spoil anything for me in the comments. Just let me know if I'm right or wrong without going into detail. This is a fantasy romance and it sounds really interesting, very fun, sort of Hunger Games-esque fantasy romance. So every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide, each curse is uniquely wicked, and to break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. I love a book with betrayal, I love a book with games and trials and tournaments, so we'll go with this one. And I also love a love triangle, so hopefully this does have what I'm looking for. Right guys, last prompt. Every time. Jesus. Girl. What is going on? Oh yeah, I've got that. A bigger paperback, and then in brackets type C. So usually the type C is like this, for example, compared to a smaller paperback. I'm not gonna do this one. I've got a few more though. We've definitely got a few we could choose from. I've got 2 Type C paperbacks. So we've got Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. I've seen this book everywhere and it's blowing up right now. I don't think I'm going to choose this one just because I've recently bought this book and I'm trying to get books off my TBR that have been there a little bit longer, you know what I mean? So for this one, I'm going to go with I Hope This Finds You Well by Natalie Sue. This is a literary fiction. And I've heard this book is very, very comical and very funny, especially if you work in an office or if you have worked in an office. There's just certain things that happen in an office that are just so comical, and anyone that's like worked in an office before can vouch for that. And there's always like particular characters in an office. No matter where you work, which country you're in, there's always like certain types of people in each office. So the sort of blurb on it says, would you want to know what your colleagues say behind your back? Jolene certainly doesn't. She's riddled with anxiety, depression, and hates her coworkers. The less she knows about them, the better. So then there's like this big IT sort of fuck up that happens, and it grants her access to all of her colleagues' emails and private messages. And at first, she's horrified. The last thing she wants is to be privy to their sad discussions about dying desk plants and marriage troubles. But then, with job cuts looming, she realizes the power in this newfound knowledge. And as she digs deeper and deeper into the private lives of her colleagues, Jolene uncovers a lot more than she bargained for. I think it sounds really interesting. It's a very interesting premise. I do enjoy a literary fiction, and I've heard good things about this online from people who like literary fiction. If you're someone who doesn't like literary fiction, I think when you read one of them, they're very character-driven stories and like not a lot of plot, so people can find them quite boring or like pretentious in the way they're written. I personally enjoy them 80% of the time. Sometimes I read some of them and I'm like, no. But anyways, this is going to be the last book we choose for our June TBR, and it's looking very good. We definitely have a very good sort of range going on here. So that is my June TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you will be reading in June, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!